In your mind, Sergeant Bergdahl, I mean, does he deserve a hero's welcome? Because a rally that was planned in his hometown has since been canceled. Is that because of all the public outrage?
Possibly. What I believe is it shouldn't be a hero's welcome. You know, what he did was he deserted his soldiers, and he deserted his, his country. He swore under oath, to protect and defend, and he walked away. That's not a heroic act.
That was Justin Gerlieve speaking with Alex Pearson on the arena last night. He's part of a growing group of soldiers who served with Sergeant Bowe Bergdahl in Afghanistan that are questioning President Obama's decision to trade 5 hardened terrorists for the accused deserter. And today, secret documents were released that indicate that Bergdahl fraternized openly with his captors and declared himself a mujahid, or warrior for Islam. But despite the chorus of criticism, the president isn't backing down from his decision.
We have a basic principle. We do not leave anybody wearing the American uniform behind. We had a prisoner of war whose health had deteriorated, and we were deeply concerned about, and we saw an opportunity and we seized it, and I make no apologies for that.
Joining us now is Robert Spencer from jihadwatch.org. Robert, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Now, I want to ask you right off the top what you make of the new revelations, these new documents that show that Bowe Bergdahl fraternized with his captors and converted to Islam.
I'm not in the least surprised. There's a lot of evidence already that this was the case. The Taliban said that he had converted to Islam and was teaching them bomb making back in 2010. Now, of course, there's no reason to take anything that the Taliban says at face value, but then when his father speaks to him when he was with Barack Obama in the Rose Garden a few days ago, the first thing his father says is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, which is in the name of Allah, the Compassionate, the Merciful. It's the heading of 113 of the 114 chapters of the Quran. Why would he say that to Bowe Bergdahl unless it meant something to Bowe, and he knew it? So it seems likely that Bergdahl did convert to Islam, which would coincide with all the reports from so many of his comrades in his unit in Afghanistan that he deserted and wanted to join up with the Taliban, and also would coincide with what he said to his father in an email just days before he left the unit, and that is, "I'm ashamed to be an American. The horror that is America is disgusting."
Mm-hmm. Now, it seems Obama sort of refused to acknowledge that religion really plays a role in the war on terror. Would you agree with that?
That's the fundamental fallacy of the Obama administration, that this doesn't have anything to do with religion. When the jihadis can always tell us consistently and unanimously that they are fighting because of their religion, they're motivated by their religion, they are acting in accord with its teaching. Now, people say all the time that they twist and hijack the religion of Islam, but the Obama administration made it a matter of policy back in 2011 not to have any mention of Islam or jihad in connection with terrorism. Mm-hmm. Now, even if they are twisting and hijacking Islam, which I think is actually not the case if you look into the Islamic texts and teachings, the fact is that it would still be incumbent upon intelligence officials to study the belief system that motivates them. But they've completely ruled that out of the question.
Now, I want to bring up a graph so we can show our viewers. This is from 2013, but it basically shows that 1 in 6 released Gitmo detainees have returned to terrorism. So you can see 100 of the 603 that were released last year returned to radicalism, of which 17 are now dead, 27 in custody, and 56 free. Now, Obama's talked a lot about closing Gitmo. It's something he campaigned on. He said that it was he wanted it to be one of the first acts he did. Do you think he saw this sort of as an opportunity worth seizing so that he could sort of get these guys out of there?
Definitely. That's actually been reported widely today, that it does seem like that he not only wanted to use this as an opportunity to empty out Gitmo a bit, but that he passed up opportunities to recapture Sergeant Bergdahl when that would not involve a prisoner exchange. And so it does seem as if emptying Gitmo is one of the primary goals of this whole fiasco.
Yeah, absolutely, and a scary thought. Now, we heard from Colonel Morris Davis. He was on our show just a few days ago. He was the former chief prosecutor in Gitmo. I want to get your reaction to what he said. Watch this.
And when I was chief prosecutor, I charged Omar Khadr, David Hicks, and Salim Hamdan. These guys were in our custody for a dozen years and didn't we couldn't come up with enough evidence to even bring charges. I know they were classified as high risk, but Hamdan and David Hicks were classified as high risk as well. And they're both free men back in their home country. So I think there's a lot of fear mongering going on. But again, I mean, there were 75 men at Guantanamo at one point in time were on my potential list for charges. These 5 were never on that list.
Now, this is a former chief prosecutor at Gitmo, okay? He's calling it fear mongering. What do you think?
I think that he is being naive and Pollyannish. The Afghans, including some Afghans who are on our side, have expressed grave concern over the last few days that these 5 are going to return to the jihad against the United States. Even Barack Obama himself said that it was absolutely true that these men posed a threat to the United States. But then he downplayed that threat and said, well, we'll just recapture them, as if that's going to be an easy thing. But the fact is that if anybody is going to return to jihad out of Gitmo, it's these 5. One of which was a close associate of Mullah Omar and Osama bin Laden. Others held high office in the Taliban regime that was in power in Afghanistan before we toppled it 10, 12 years ago. And so these guys are not like farmers who got picked up in a fleet and really had nothing to do with anything that was going on. They were deeply involved with the jihad against the United States. And I don't think there's any doubt whatsoever that they'll go back to.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying they're the hardest ones to figure